Last week, we talked about creating a support system. We are talking about, as parents in our own journey, how do we take care? We talked about support system. Today, we will talk about letting go and leaning in. What is that all about? Welcome, teachers, parents, grandparents, and caretakers. Welcome to these sessions of IDTNG, intentionally discipling the next generation. Thanks for coming back again and again. And if you can pass this on to some of your friends, it'll be a great blessing. Letting go and leaning in. We have heard that famous statement, let go and let God. Have you heard that? Let go and let God. Now, that statement is very good statement, very good. I've seen in t-shirts, I've seen in glasses, I've seen in mugs, I've seen on book covers. Let go and let God. It's a fantastic statement. But for me, it's not a very great statement because it's a very passive statement. I would change it slightly. I would say, let go and lean in. We are, as parents, many a times, we are holding on to certain things as if we are in control, and sometimes we are, sometimes we are not. So for us to be willing to let go, and what is leaning in? Leaning into God. We need to let go and not just let God, not being so passive and just sitting back and saying, let go and let God. No, let go and lean in. I have to be active in my walk with the Lord. As I raise my children, as I raise my teenagers, it's a very difficult journey, especially in today's world. It's a very, very, very difficult journey. Letting go and leaning in comprises of two things: leaning into active faith and leaning into active obedience. Now, what's that active faith? Now, when I see my children, when I see my teenagers struggling, they have come up with some problems and they are behaving in a certain way, you're beginning to wonder, hey, what's happening with my children? That's where we letting go and we lean into active faith. What's active faith? I believe God will help me. God is sovereign and He watching over it, and He will help me to raise my children. He will help me to handle this situation with my teenager. Letting go and leaning into active faith. 2, letting go and leaning into active obedience. What's active obedience? When there are times, we keep doing the same things again and again and our children keep getting hurt. I think there are times where we need to listen to the Lord and say, Lord, teach me. How can I help my child? How can I help my teenager? Sometimes that wisdom that God gives you, I think that is that place of active obedience. When we hear, sometimes maybe it's not God. Sometimes maybe one of our friends are looking at us and saying, hey, whatever you're doing, maybe sometimes you may have to change this. See how you can try to do this. Letting go and leaning into active obedience. That can I obey that particular feedback that's coming? Can I obey that particular wisdom that comes from the Lord? Can I obey that particular my own processing of how it is? And sometimes we ourselves know, right? There is something deep inside saying, hey, the way you responded, the way you got frustrated, the way you did things, not very great. I begin to say, yeah, I process it, but am I obeying that whole journey of that processing that I have done? I processed and said, okay, next time when that situation comes, I should not be doing that, but am I leaning into that place of active obedience? Letting go and leaning in, it's a very critical principle. As parents, we have to walk this journey. It is a difficult journey, but we cannot just shy away. No, we cannot. We can't bail out. Especially in today's context, we need to get in. We need to get in. Remember the principle that we talked about? Letting go and leaning in. Leaning into active faith, leaning into active obedience. Thank you so much for coming back. Thank you so much for watching these videos. If you are blessed, share it with someone that it will be a blessing. We need to redeem our children, our teenagers.